Hey there, it's William. Today we're going to be troubleshooting a Samsung dryer that isn't heating up. Kind of defeats the purpose of a dryer, doesn't it? Now, just as a heads up, we're going to be taking a closer look at the thermistor, main PCB, the thermal cutoff, the high limit thermostat, the heating element, and motor to see which one is causing the problem. Now, before we dive in, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel to get your regular fix of repair guides that can help you save money and time. With over 2 million products in stock and the know-how to help you do it yourself, we are AppliancePartsPros.com. First, we're going to grab a few tools. Today, we'll need a multimeter, a Phillips head screwdriver, and needle nose pliers. Also, please remember that safety comes first. Don't forget to unplug your dryer or turn that breaker off before working on it. Ready? Let's get started. Our first check is the thermistor, and to get to it, we're using our Phillips screwdriver to remove the 2 screws that hold the top panel at the back. Then we're moving the top panel to the back, lifting it up, and setting it to the side. With that out of the way, we're using our Phillips screwdriver to remove the 3 mounting screws that hold the main control housing to the front and side frame. Then we can carefully rotate the main control so that we can get access to the wires and make sure no bare wires are touching any metal. We need to find the connection CN4 and disconnect the wires. After that, we're grabbing our meter and setting it to resistance, which looks like an upside down horseshoe. Then we can test from the blue wire to the red wire. There should be a resistance reading of around 10K ohms or 10,000 ohms at a room temperature of 77 degrees. If the thermistor reads much different, which is anything outside of the 10% range, then the thermistor would need to be replaced. If the resistance is within that 10% range, then we'll need to continue troubleshooting. Now let's move to the main PCB. We're connecting the wires back onto the connection CN4 and making sure there are no bare wires touching metal. For this test, the dryer needs to be plugged in and powered on. Please be very careful to protect yourself from electric shock, which has the potential to cause serious injuries. Don't ever test live voltage if you're uncomfortable using a meter. When you're ready, plug the power cord back in and grab your meter, then set it to volts AC, which looks like a V with a squiggly line. After you find the heater relay with the black wire and the blue wire, we can start a drying cycle with regular heat. Now place the meter probes on the black and blue wire. We should see 0 volts AC here. If the reading shows 240 volts AC, that means the relay isn't closing and the main control has failed. If the reading shows 0 volts AC, then we'll need to continue troubleshooting. We need to turn off the dryer and unplug it for the rest of this testing. Next up is the thermal cutoff. Now we're lifting up on the console and pulling it away from the dryer. We're disconnecting the wires behind the console on the right. Then we can lift up on the console and setting the console to the side. Now we're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to remove the 2 screws behind the door in front of the lint trap and the lint filter. We also need to remove the 4 screws at the top of the panel. Then we can slightly lift the front panel up and rotate it forward. Once we've done that, we can disconnect the door switch harness and completely remove the front panel. You can just set the front panel to the side for now. Now we're unlatching the wire retainers from the wire harness. Then we can use our Phillips screwdriver to remove the 5 Phillips screws from the top plate and set it to the side as well.
We also need to disconnect the wire from the drum lamp.
We're also removing the screws from the lint duct, pulling the duct down and setting it to the side. Next, we're removing the 4 Phillips screws from the front bulkhead and disconnecting the sensor bar wire connector. Now we can lift the front bulkhead up and pull it forward. At this point, we can reach back and remove the belt from the idler pulley. Once that's done, we can remove the drum and belt and set them to the side. Then we can grab our meter and set it to continuity, which looks like a sideways Wi-Fi symbol. We also need to remove 1 wire from the thermal cutoff at the center side of the heating element and test it for continuity. If there's no continuity, then the thermal cutoff would need to be replaced. If there is continuity, we will need to continue troubleshooting. Now we're going to check the high limit thermostat. The high limit thermostat is in front of the thermal cutoff. We need to remove 1 wire and test this for continuity. If there's no continuity, then the high limit thermostat has failed and would need to be replaced. If there is continuity, then we will need to continue troubleshooting. Next up is the heating element. We're setting our meter to resistance, which looks like an upside down horseshoe, and testing the heating element for resistance with 1 wire removed from the element terminals. We should get a resistance reading of 10 ohms here. If the resistance shows open or OL, like we see here, then the element has failed and would need to be replaced. Stay with us until the end and I'll show you how to replace this element. If the resistance is good, then we would need to continue troubleshooting. If you've made it this far and haven't found a faulty part, that means the motor is probably the problem. But let's test it to make sure.
First, we need to remove the wire harness from the side of the motor.
We're setting our meter to continuity and testing from the red wire at terminal 1 to the red wire at terminal 2. The easiest way to identify the terminals is going to be by locating the terminals at the farthest ends of the motor terminal block. These two will always go to the heating circuit. Now let's insert our meter probes in place and reach to the disc of the motor just behind the belt pulley. We need to pull the disc towards us, and our meter should read continuity at this point. If the motor doesn't have continuity at this point, then it's failed and would need to be replaced. Since we found out that the heating element is bad on this dryer, I'm going to show you how to replace it. We can reconnect the wires to the high limit thermostat and the thermal cutoff so that we don't forget where they go. Then we're going to grab our Phillips screwdriver and take out the mounting screws from the high limit thermostat and the thermal cutoff. We're also removing the second wire from the heating element. Then we can use our Phillips screwdriver to remove the mounting screw at the front of the heating element housing that holds it. We're lifting up at the front and pulling the element housing forward. Now we need to remove the Phillips screws along the rim of the element housing and separate the two shells. We are grabbing our needle nose pliers to bend the locking tabs in line with the terminals so that they can be pushed out of the ceramic block. The element will lift up and out at this point. Here's the old heating element and here's the new one. If you've already got one, great. If not, you can pick one up at appliancepartspros.com. To replace the heating element, we're going to insert the new one into the housing, push the terminals through, and close the two shells together. Then we can secure them with the Phillips screws that we removed earlier and use our needle nose pliers to bend the lock tabs on the terminals. Alright, let's put this dryer back together. First, we're angling the heating element housing back into place. Then we're securing it to the front bracket with the Phillips screw. Then we can connect the heating element terminal wires. We also need to connect the high limit thermostat and thermal cutoff to the heating element housing and secure them in place. Once that's done, we're going to install the drum and belt and secure the belt to the motor and idler pulley. Then we can grab the front bulkhead, install it, and secure it with the Phillips head screws that we removed earlier. We're also reconnecting the sensor bar wires. Next, we're installing the lint filter housing. We're also going to go ahead and install that lint filter. We need to connect the drum lamp wires and then install the top plate before we secure the wire harness with the retainers. At this point, we can grab the front panel and guide it onto the bottom hinges, connect the door switch wires, and rotate it into place. Then it can be secured with the screws we removed behind the door and at the top. Now we're grabbing the console and setting it down in place. We're also guiding the wires through the top plate and pushing the console into place. Then we can use our Phillips screwdriver to rotate the main control back in place and secure it with the 3 Phillips screws that we removed earlier. Now we're grabbing our top panel, setting it on the dryer about 3 inches or so from the console, and then sliding it forward. We need to secure the top panel with the final Phillips screws, and with that, we're all done. Don't forget to plug the power cord back in or turn that breaker back on. Great job! We hope you were able to get your Samsung dryer back up and running. And if you still need a new part, whether it's a thermistor, a heating element, or something else, make sure to jot down your model number and visit appliancepartspros.com to get a replacement. 1 or 2 days is usually all it takes for a new part to show up at your door. We'd love to hear from you too. Take a second to drop a comment below and share how everything went. Now thanks again, and we'll see you next time.